You went quiet thinking that was the move. You pulled back, stopped texting, stopped calling, stopped checking in. In your head, she was going to sit there staring at her phone, wondering where you went, fighting the urge to reach out first. You pictured her scrolling through your chats, opening your profile, maybe even typing something and deleting it. But that didn't happen. Days passed, then weeks, maybe months, and nothing. No message, no call, no how are you. She's still out there living her life like you were never even there, and you're the one who's stuck. You're checking her page. You're reading into every new follow, every post, every story. You keep asking the same question in your mind. Why doesn't she feel this the way I do? Why isn't she missing me? Why does it feel like she's winning and I'm the one who got left behind? Here's the hard truth you've been avoiding. It feels like she's winning because she didn't lose anything. You went silent, but you didn't really change. You removed your words, not your attachment. You stepped out of her inbox, but not out of that old version of yourself. And that's why nothing is shifting. So yeah, right now you are doing this wrong. Not because silence is useless, but because you're using it in the weakest way possible. By the time we're done here, you're going to understand exactly why your silence isn't working and what you actually need to do so that your distance has weight, so that your presence has weight, and so that you stop living like your whole life is waiting on one girl to notice you. This isn't about tricks. This isn't about trying to hack her mind. This is about fixing you. It's about turning into the kind of guy people feel when he's there and notice when he's gone. The kind of guy whose life is moving with or without whoever stays or leaves. So let's walk through what's really going on and what has to change. First problem, she expects you to chase. You think you're being mysterious. You think your silence is confusing her. But from her point of view, there is no mystery. She already knows you. She knows your pattern. She has seen the way you react when you feel ignored. She knows how quickly you fold when she gives you even a little attention. You have probably done this before with her. You get hurt, you disappear a bit, then you send something like a check-in, a long message, or some indirect excuse to talk again. She has seen that pattern. So when you stop talking now, she isn't sitting there confused. She's not trying to decode your behavior. She assumes you're doing what you always do. You're upset, you're waiting, and sooner or later you'll give in and come back. From her side, your silence is not proof that you moved on. To her, it's proof that you're still playing out the same story in your head, just with more delay this time. That's why she doesn't feel pressure. That's why she doesn't feel your absence. There's no fear of loss if she believes you're still emotionally available whenever she decides to return. You were trained to chase. From the start, you probably believed that if you just show enough effort, if you stay consistent, if you keep proving how much you care, she'll finally see your value and pick you. So you kept showing up, you kept replying fast, you kept being there every time she wanted your attention. And what did that do? It taught her something about you. It showed her you were always available. It showed her that no matter how little she invested, you would stay. You never made her earn your energy. You never made her question whether you would still be there. You never showed her that you were willing to walk away from a situation that wasn't good for you. So now you think going quiet will magically fix all of that. But silence doesn't rewrite history. She doesn't miss what never felt rare. She doesn't chase what she feels she already owns. And here's the part you don't want to admit. Your silence is still about her. You stop talking, but every day your mind is on her. Every move you make online is about her seeing it. Every break you take from your phone is still about waiting for a notification from her. She still has control of your focus. She still has control of your emotions. She still has control of what you do with your time. So even in silence, you are chasing. You're just doing it in a different way. Real power is when your actions are not centered around her at all. When your silence doesn't come from "I hope she notices," but from "I am busy building something else now," with or without her attention. Until that shift happens, you're just pausing your messages, not changing your life. Second problem. Your silence feels weak, not strong. You think not texting is the same as being detached. It's not. Right now, you're probably doing this. You hold yourself back from sending that long message. You stare at her profile picture. You replay old conversations. You check when she was last online. You watch her stories and then hate yourself for watching them. On the outside, you're quiet. On the inside, you're loud. You're tense. You're restless. You're hoping. You're wondering if she's noticing. Silence only has power when it comes from a calm mind, not a stressed mind. When a guy is truly done, there's no performance in it. He doesn't have to force himself not to text. He's simply not interested in putting his energy there anymore because his life is packed with better things to focus on. That's not you yet. You still want a reaction. You still want a sign. You still want a message that proves she's thinking about you. So even your silence is a request. You just change the form of the request. Instead of saying, "Please notice me" with words, you're saying, "Please notice I'm gone" with absence. And she can sense that. You don't need to believe in anything mystical to understand this. People pick up on behavior. They see the pattern. They can tell when someone is still attached, even if that person is trying to act distant. She knows you would reply fast. She knows if she sent a simple message, you'd answer. She knows you're holding back contact, not because your standards changed, but because you're trying to get a reaction. That doesn't create respect. That doesn't create attraction. It just confirms to her that you're still stuck on her and trying to use silence as a move. There's a big difference between silence and real absence. Silence is, I'm not talking, but I'm still waiting and watching. Real absence is, I'm not talking because I have moved on with my life, and my attention is on my work, my body, my goals, my friends, my growth. Silence is passive. Real absence is active. Silence is you doing nothing and expecting her to do something. Real absence is you doing a lot for yourself and not caring what she does. When a guy truly lets go, his life changes, his schedule changes, his habits change, his priorities change, and that shift is what people feel. Not because he's using absence, but because he's genuinely not the same person who used to constantly give his time to the wrong place. If your day still revolves around wondering what she's doing, the silence is fake. It's a presentation, not a transformation. And women don't respect performances. They respect actual strength, actual discipline, actual progress. Third problem, she doesn't feel your absence because your presence never felt strong. This one hurts, but you need to hear it straight. A person only feels the loss of what actually added real value to their life. If all you ever gave her was comfort, attention, replies, and effort with no standards, no boundaries, and no real direction in your own life, then being away from you doesn't feel like losing something important. It feels light. It feels easy. Think about it. If she never had to work for your attention, if she never had to wonder where she stands with you, if she never had to step up to keep you, then your presence never felt scarce or special. You basically gave her the experience of always being chosen, no matter what she did. That doesn't build value in her mind. It builds routine. So when you finally step back, what exactly is she supposed to miss? The constant reassurance? The instant replies? The feeling that you'd always say yes, no matter how you felt inside? That doesn't feel like losing something unique. That feels like getting space. Most guys never want to look at this. They want to believe they were this amazing blessing to her life, and she just doesn't see it. But if she could walk away so easily and sit in silence this long, without any sign of discomfort, it says something about how she experienced you. You weren't unforgettable. You were comfortable. You weren't a standard she had to rise to. You were a backup that stayed around. You weren't leading your own life. You were fitting yourself into hers. So when you go silent now, she doesn't feel a heavy change. The only thing that changed is she gets all the benefits of moving on without any effort, while you're still stuck in the past. That's why this whole thing has to stop being about making her miss you. That mindset keeps you weak. It keeps you focused on her reaction instead of your own level. The real shift you need is this. Stop trying to make your absence painful for her. Start making your presence stronger for yourself. Become the kind of man whose life has clear direction, structure, and purpose. The kind of man who has standards for who gets his time and attention. The kind of man who demands effort back, not by talking about it, but by the way he lives. When a man like that steps away, people feel it. Not because he is trying to do something to them, but because his presence was actually valuable and active. So if she doesn't feel anything now, that is feedback. It shows you that you need to level up your own value, not for her, but for your whole life. Fourth problem, you haven't changed at all. This is the part guys really hate, but it's the core of everything. You've convinced yourself that time is doing the work. You think if enough weeks pass with no contact, something will magically shift in her mind. But time by itself doesn't change people. Action does. You can sit in silence for 6 months and still be the same guy you were on day one. Same habits, same mindset, same insecurities, same routine, same emotional dependence on her. From her side, nothing about that is attractive. Nothing about that creates regret. Even if she thinks about you for a moment, she remembers the version of you she left. The guy who put her above his goals, the guy who accepted weak treatment, the guy who didn't really lead his own life. If that version is still the same, why would she ever feel like she lost anything important? You're hoping that memories alone will pull her back. You're hoping she sits there, replaying the good moments. But that's not how most people operate. She moves forward. She fills her time. She meets new people. She gets busy. She only keeps strong memories of people who stood out. If her strongest impression of you is that you were always available, always there, always putting her first, always over-explaining yourself, always trying to prove you're good enough, then it's not a big event in her life to lose that. It's a reset. So you need to ask yourself some real questions. Since she left, what has actually changed? Is your income better? Is your body stronger and healthier? Is your social life better? Is your skill set higher? Is your mindset clearer? Are your standards for relationships higher? Or are you just scrolling, overthinking, and counting days with no contact? If she walked back into your life right now, would she find a new man or the exact same one, just more desperate and more emotionally drained? Because here's the truth. Women do not come back for the same man they left. They only look back when they see a version they no longer expected you to become. And the point is, not to get her back. The point is that once you actually become that higher version, you won't be interested in going back to a situation where you were disrespected or taken for granted. A guy who really levels up doesn't chase people from his past. He lets the past stay there. That is when she feels real loss. Not because you stayed silent, but because what she once had access to is now on a level she cannot reach anymore. Fifth problem, you are still emotionally tied to her. This is why everything still hurts. This is why you feel stuck. You're not just silent, you're attached. Your mood still depends on what she does online. Your self-worth still reacts to whether she views your story or not. Your thoughts still circle back to her at night. So your day is not really your day. It's a reaction to whether she shows up in some way or not. She, on the other hand, is moving. She is talking to other people. She is living her life. She might remember you here and there, but she is not stuck in this loop. That's why she doesn't feel your absence. Because you haven't actually left. You're still there mentally and emotionally. You think not texting is enough, but as long as you mentally sit in front of her, hoping she wakes up one day and realizes your value, you are still giving her full control. She doesn't need to talk to you to know you're still holding on. She can tell by how easy it was to walk away. She can tell by how small your life became after she left. She can tell by how long you disappeared but stayed single, weak, unfocused, and obsessed with what she might do. You are still measuring yourself through her response. That's the real problem. You will never feel in control of your life as long as you are waiting for one person to validate you by missing you. What actually changes everything is emotional detachment. Not fake detachment where you pretend you don't care but secretly watch her every move. Real detachment where you stop letting this woman define your value. What does that look like in real life? You stop checking her profile. You stop looking at who she follows. You stop running mental stories about her dating life. You stop asking friends about her. You stop imagining future conversations with her. You start taking that same mental energy and putting it into things that actually build you. You improve your body. You improve your money. You build discipline with your sleep, your food, your training, your work. You connect with better people. You develop social skills. You learn how to express yourself more clearly. You learn how to set boundaries without fear. The more you build, the less you cling. Slowly, your mind stops circling around her, not because you force yourself to forget, but because your life finally has more important things going on. When that happens, your silence stops being a tactic and becomes a natural result of where your life is heading. And that is the only time a woman truly feels that she lost something. Not when you stop sending messages for a few weeks, but when she sees that your life is now full, structured, and moving, and you are no longer reachable in the old way. At some point, usually when she feels curious or a little insecure, she might test you. Maybe she views your story on purpose. Maybe she likes a photo. Maybe she sends a short, casual message that could lead to a conversation. She is not doing this to restart a deep connection. She is checking if she still has influence over you. If you react with excitement, if you answer fast, if you start over investing again, you confirm that she still has that influence. You show her that your silence was only a pause, not a real change. Respect drops again. Interest drops again. You go back to the same position. So, yeah, emotional detachment is the real work here. And it's hard. It doesn't feel good at the start. You feel like you are losing something. You feel like you are letting go of a big part of your identity. But holding on is what's destroying you. The more you hold on to this one girl, the more you postpone your own growth. You could be further in every area of your life by now. But you're stuck replaying the same story in your head. You need to accept this. You did not lose your only chance at happiness. You lost a situation that exposed how much you were neglecting yourself. That's what this really is. It's feedback. You were too focused on her. You put her above your goals. You allowed her reactions to decide how you felt about yourself. Now it's time to correct that. So what do you actually do from here? First, stop trying to win some invisible game with her. No more how do I make her miss me? No more what if I stay silent for X days? No more sitting around planning strategies to trigger a response. Your life is not supposed to revolve around a reaction from one person. Instead, you accept that right now, she does not miss you. You accept that right now, she might be with someone else. You accept that right now, you are not her priority. It hurts, but acceptance kills the fantasy. And once the fantasy dies, you stop living in a fake story and start dealing with reality. In reality, here's what you can control. You can control what time you wake up. You can control what you do with your body today. You can control what you put into your mind. You can control who you talk to. You can control how much you work on your goals. You can control the standards you set for who gets access to your attention. Silence becomes powerful when it is backed by a real life that is improving. Imagine this version of you. You wake up early. You train hard. You're more focused at work or school. You're learning new skills that make you more valuable. You're dressing better. You're speaking with more confidence. You're not glued to your phone. You're not scrolling through her page. You're not waiting for anything. Your days are full. You're meeting new people without desperation. You're not searching for someone to fix you. You're bringing a full life into every interaction. Now compare that version with the you at sitting in silence, refreshing her page and guessing what her posts mean. One of these men is going to feel powerful. The other is going to feel lost. Which one do you think she would feel more drawn to if she ever sees him again? And more important than that, which one do you want to be for yourself, even if she never comes back? Because here's the final point you need to understand. The real win is not making her regret. The real win is getting yourself back. You lost yourself in this girl. long before you lost her. You lowered your standards, you ignored red flags, you tolerated distance, mixed signals, or disrespect because you were afraid to walk away. You made her the center of your world. Now you have a choice. You can keep living like that and stay stuck, or you can use this whole situation as the point where everything changes. Not in some dramatic movie moment, but in the everyday decisions you make from now on. Every time you feel the urge to check her profile, you can choose to open a book, go to the gym, or work on a skill instead. Every time you feel like sending a message, you can choose to call a friend or work on a project. Every time you start thinking about her, you can remind yourself that this attachment is stopping your growth and put that focus into something that actually moves your life forward. Over time, you become more stable, more focused, more confident, more calm. At that point, something interesting happens. You stop needing her to feel your absence. You stop needing her to regret anything. You stop needing closure from her. You become the closure. Your life becomes the proof that you didn't stay stuck. Your progress becomes the answer to every question you used to ask. Was I good enough? You stop asking because you're too busy becoming better. Will she ever come back? You stop caring because your life is moving either way. And if one day she does see you again, maybe in person, maybe online, and she feels something, that's fine. She's allowed to feel that. But by then, you're not a guy trying to impress her with silence. You're a man who rebuilt himself and lives by his own standards. You didn't lose her. You lost the weaker version of yourself that needed her to feel valuable. Now it's your job to make sure that version never comes back.